Introduction. This was our 7th week in Physics 111. It was a short week due to class being canceled on Tuesday for those who had already had their one-on-one interviews with David the prior week. Once we got back to work on Thursday, we had a lot to review. We started with our quiz, of course, and then dug into the nitty-gritty. Listen more to find what I learned and what I want to learn based off of what I did throughout the week. What I did. Tuesday we didn't have class because it was the last day for one-on-one interviews. Since I already had my interview on Thursday, I stayed home and finished my video blog for week 6, then worked in Buzzword typing up my group's outline for Project 2 and typed up assignments that need to be completed so everyone can pick which sections of the TIM they wanted to attack on this project. Thursday, David let us know when to expect his feedback for Project 1 and when he expects us to have our TIMs fixed, finalized, and turned back into him. We were then given a sheet that had various velocity versus time graphs on it, and were required to draw a position and acceleration versus time graph and motion diagram based off the information given us in the velocity versus time graph, and then write a brief description explaining what was happening in these graphs. After our quiz review, we practiced finding and calculating velocity and acceleration using numbers, worked in Excel and learned how to set up graphs using information we collect in our research, and then discussed how we would need to use Excel to set up and display the data we collect in Project 2 in our instruction manuals. Outside of class, I continued to add notes into Buzzword, and then met up with my group to work on improvements to our launcher to help overcome obstacles previously faced, and then started planning what we want the frame to look like that will hold up our launcher and make it movable, and then how we planned on building it. What I learned. I learned after spring break we have less than 2 weeks till our project number 2 is due. I learned how to graph in Excel, learned that feedback will be sent to us by Saturday, but that Buzzword will be down over that weekend for maintenance, so we won't be able to do anything. I learned that my group changed a lot of things and made different improvements to our launcher than what we talked about before I left on my trip. I learned how our frame was going to be built and that our launcher was similar to the group with the air compressor launcher, except we don't have an air compressor. By that I mean that we both need to add an extra kind of cup safety net type thing that the water balloon would sit in to keep it from popping when we stuck the water balloon inside of the tubing or the inner portion of our launcher. This is the same idea that Getting Physical had, and is the same type of cup that will be launched actually with the water balloon so that the water balloon doesn't break while it's traveling through our ABS tube during the launch. What I want and need to learn. I want to know what sections of the TIM everyone in my group would like to do, and what everyone has studied so far for Project 2. I want to learn more about the topics mentioned in the guidelines for Project 2, such as energy and Hooke's Law. I also need to practice graphing in Excel more, especially using a PC computer, because it's very different than how you graph using a Mac computer, like how we learned in class. And I only have a PC computer at home. I want and need to hurry and do lots of research for this project. I feel like I haven't done much for a group project and want to feel like I'm accomplishing and contributing more to the group. Conclusion. This past week was kind of an off week without having class on both Tuesday and Thursday. We still managed to go over quite a bit of information in class on Thursday, with learning how to set up graphs in Excel and going over math equations and calculations for TIMs. I have a lot to practice and research that I need to complete before I attempt to do anything in the TIM for Project 2. As I get ready to do more studying and research for Project 2, and feeling a little resentful in a way, I turn to Confucius, who said, "Learning without thought is labor lost."